Sponsored by mycaring.com.
Good evening, welcome back to Milton Keynes Sports Bar for the second quarter-final of this latest Taom Shootout. Liam Dunster in a cracker, one of the highest quality matches of the day, edging through, but who will he play? Introducing first, a warm Milton Keynes welcome to the most electrifying man in all of 8-ball pool, Seb Webb. And his opponent, a young man making big waves, 16 years of age, from Radcliffe in Manchester, and a terrific victory already here in the last 16. A warm welcome to Kian Monaghan.
Seb Webb versus Kian Monaghan is our second quarter-final of the night, and perhaps the best performance of the afternoon session was Kian Monaghan in his victory over Craig Lakin, looking very calm and collected in winning 5-2. He definitely looks like a star in the making, only 16 years old, but absolutely shining in this format and in this arena. Up against him is a man that's been in every single Taom Shootout so far, created a bit of a name for himself in the money match scene and on social media. He plays with an awful lot of confidence and an awful lot of swagger. Came through 4-2 victory over Tilly Edwards in the previous round. Probably not his best performance, but the result is all that really matters. And it is Seb Webb that will get us underway with an excellent opening break. And he gets the first opportunity at the table. Choice. He could have gone reds or yellows. He's decided to go yellows. Only real problem yellow being the one that he's leaning over at the top of the table. Tricky opening shot for Kian to go at when Seb missed. He didn't really give Kian much to go at, and he had to take that tricky pot to the top left. Unfortunately, it stayed on the table, and Seb Webb gets a second opportunity in this frame. Feels like a very typical Seb Webb finish this, just not quite got complete control of the white, but he's still fighting his way through it, and he's still looking very much likely to get the frame on the board. And the commentator's curse strikes, and he snookers himself on the black.
So the young man will have an opportunity. Or will he? What a shot that going to be.
Yeah, two very good opportunities in this frame for Seb Webb, and he hasn't been able to take either of them. It's important for Kian, if he's going to have a chance in this match, that he settles down and he takes this opportunity. You need to be punishing your opponents when they make mistakes. If they make clearances without you being able to do anything, then so be it. When you get the chances, you need to take them. Perfect control in his visit so far. So often the way, all the yellows are out of the way, just a nice open table. Just a case of keeping it simple.
Well, he's talked a lot today about the nerves that he has felt. On that table, he's not showing any. Great start.
Kian Monaghan just looks absolutely at home on this table in this arena.
Second frame, leading one frame still.
It's a decent break, really good split. He's made a ball. Depending on which colour set he wants to go, he's going to have problems both ways. Reds look easier apart from one ball, but you can see the argument for going yellows if he can get through to the one nearest the bottom right-hand corner pocket. I don't think he can.
Well, I think I may still have been tempted to go yellows there. But you're right, problems on which either choice you'd have made.
If this red goes to the top left now, then its job's done. If it doesn't, then he needs to play into the little cluster again. He's just thrown a little bit wide off the cushion and he missed the cannon on the red and the two yellows, so he still has his work to do. In an ideal world, he'd like to hit the yellow full in the face. He had to come off the bottom cushion. He's a little bit thinner on it than would have been ideal, and that's the reason he's not got a great next shot.
Yeah, just a little bit too straight there.
Yeah, if he was able to hit the reds, hit the yellows on the way down the table, he could have stayed on the red into the centre pocket. Coming from the bottom, the yellows were going to always be blocking his path.
So just the layup.
Taking the view that the yellows are awkward, just keep the red in the middle of the table and ask the question of Seb Webb. You know he's going to want to try and go for something aggressive, want to go for a finish.
Well, that was horrible cueing.
I can't tell you how hard a shot that was. For a second I thought he'd pulled it off. Playing a length of the table from just the worst cueing you could imagine. Seb's going to need to move those two yellows on the right hand side. He may well have the angle to do it here. Didn't have the natural angle, and he had to kind of create it with a lot of power. And he just misses them. He's sort of potting himself into trouble now.
Yeah, I could see the reaction, even under that cap. Played an attacking shot and he's been forced to try and play safe, and he hasn't even played a particularly good one. Oh, he's gone for the double plant.
Yeah, you could see him eye it up, as he definitely was going for the plant.
No, he is in a spot of bother. Just flicks off the only side of that red he could see. You can sense his disgust about how it landed.
Yeah, he wanted to catch it just a fraction thinner, and the white may have come back up and snookered Seb on all yellows. He left Seb the perfect angle once he made the pot to develop the bad yellow, and as tough a shot as that was, Kian knew what he'd left as soon as he walked away from the table. Take nothing away from Seb, that was a fantastic shot.
Wow.
As good as the previous shot was, that was bad. Pretty simple pot that he's just missed.
Why did he play it so hard?
I think he gave all his attention to the path of the cue ball, and I think maybe just took his eye off the pot.
So just one good positional shot here, and it's 2-0 to the teenager. Well played. It is 2-0 to the 16-year-old, Kian Monaghan.
Just like this afternoon's match, Kian getting off to a very quick start with two frames on the board. This afternoon he had a great opportunity to go 3-0 in front and handed it to his opponent Craig Lakin. Won't want to do that again, you can't get away with that too often.
One red, nice split of reds as well. This is a good chance.
Yeah, when you're 2-0 down, you've already used 12 minutes of your clock. This is exactly what you're after. Nice break, really nice split, and a nice opener, nice easy opener. Seb just taking his time to work out exactly what he wants to do. And he's taking on the really hard pot down the rail, and now that he's made that, it's in perfect position. That was a great shot. He chose to take that shot early because it was his hardest ball on the table, and you can see why, because once that's out of the way, it looks a fairly routine table.
Well, where's he rolled there? It was not very clever. No problem though. Nice recovery. And in goes the black to half his arrears. Great response from Seb Webb, who now trails by 1 at 2 frames to 1.
Seb snookered himself in the first frame on the black, and it cost him the frame. He must have thought for a second he'd done exactly the same thing when he snookered himself on his last ball. But an excellent shot off the top cushion to complete the clearance. Dry break from Kian this time.
That was a very delicate little shot from Seb into those middle pockets that have proved to be so tight today. Made it look very, very straightforward. And this is straight away another really good opportunity. But he's missed that by some distance.
It's unusual for Seb Webb. He's normally a very clean potter of the ball. It's normally his positional play that lets him down. Very rarely does he miss a pot like that. As tough a pot as it was, fully expected him to get it.
Keynes rolled straight into. I don't know if he tried to develop the 2 yellows on the cushion, but he's ended up very, very close to this one. It's an awful shot to have to play when it's dropped.
It's an excellent recovery. So 2 yellows in the bottom half of the table, 2 yellows in the top half of the table. The key is the transition from the bottom half to the top half. If he can land perfectly on the yellow nearest the cushion, it's not ideal because he's going to be hampered queuing, and he's a few inches further away than he would have wanted to be.
He threw up his hand as if to indicate it had a bad bounce then. He was expecting to be a lot further up the table than he was. Gets a little flick and the yellow veers towards right centre, but that is a very good opportunity gone begging for Kian.
It really is, and it sounds simple because it was such a natural path to go from the yellows at the bottom half to the top half of the table, but it's so often that transitional shot when you're moving the white from one half to the other half that's where it can go wrong. If you can get close control after that shot, it's normally plain sailing. This time, Seb's positional play lets him down. Hasn't landed on the red nearest the cushion. It's going to have to be a safety shot of some description.
He's furious, absolutely furious. Plays the swerve.
There's enough room there to be able to just bend around. It wasn't too bad. He's got not the worst angle for the into the middle pocket to be able to get on the red into the bottom right corner.
He's potted well into that troublesome right centre pocket today. Just needs to be careful not to cannon the black, and he does. And there we are, 2-2. Big frame that. Keane was in for 3-1. But we're back to 2 apiece.
Yeah, bad mistake by Kian. He'll feel he really should have made sure of that frame. He just needed that white to travel an extra 6 inches or so, and he would have been right behind his ball down the cushion.
that was certainly the case in the first quarter-final. Liam Dunster safely through.
The white flying in gives Kian Monaghan the opportunity to get back in front. Gives him a free shot, open the table up. Just developing the yellows, and now he can play. I'm surprised he's not playing the red onto the yellow on the right-hand side. It's not too bad because he can just play into the red now, bump it out the way. When you've got an open table, you can play the red onto the yellow to pot yellows, which would have been a fairly simple shot for him, but the way he's gone was very controlled and very simple as well. The ball he has to give most consideration to, and perhaps didn't with his free shot, and he could have done, is the black. It really is in a horrible position.
All a bit messy down that bottom right corner. Oh, wow. Has he got a great break there?
Well, he probably has, but his chances of clearing up from here are very slim. The mistake was when he played the yellows into the middle pocket, he let one of them get away from him and just caused more problems.
No. Very tricky shot. And a curse from Seb.
Seb's not happy. The red's gone to a position where they don't plant into the corner. Probably should be happy that his opponent's missed and given him an opportunity at the table, rather than worrying about how good that opportunity is. There's no doubt Seb Webb's in control of this frame. I think Kian's probably made a mistake once he's gone for the finish and made a mistake 3 or 4 balls out, that he's carried on and tried to make it happen rather than he had control of this bottom right hand corner pocket. He could have played a safety shot and reworked another opportunity. I think in the previous match we saw Liam Dunster in that situation. He definitely would have played the safety shot and probably would have gone on to earn himself another opportunity in the frame.
He did a stroke of luck there. The teenager didn't get it. Still shaking his head as he walks around the table, Seb Webb.
When Seb played the snooker on the 2 reds to the bottom right, behind the 2 reds to the bottom right hand corner, he would have wanted to nudge them open to make them into a plant. And I don't think he's done that. I think they're still set to the jaw, and I don't think they can be made, which is perhaps why he's shaking his head so much.
He's having another go. That's better. That was a really nice shot. Again, the body language is not positive. He's gone for the double. That's worked out nicely. Still not the kind of punt he wants, but
he might be able to get to the one over the pocket. Yeah. It's difficult to get behind the black. He may play into the black here with an awful lot of check side. The pot's tough enough.
Yeah, it's a tough shot, this. I think the door may be ajar for Keane here. Oh, he's played that well. Needs to be wary of the cue ball here. That's a really good clearance. And Seb Webb, for the first time, leads this quarter-final by 3 frames to 2.
Seb was never in full control of that finish. He was shaking his head after every single shot, trying to make something happen, but eventually he gets the shot that opens it up, and he does make it happen. And that's Seb Webb. That is the way he plays. He likes to try and make things happen, and it really was an excellent clearance in the end.
So the match clock starts to become an issue and goes 2 reds, 1 to each of the top corners. 7.5 minutes. And it's Keynes who needs to strike now.
It's an excellent opening pot. He was hoping to develop the red that's nearest the left-hand side cushion. That hasn't happened. He flicked the red on the way through that he wasn't expecting to. But he's got an opener in this frame. Disappointing miss from Kian this time. I think the tricky side of the shot was going to be getting onto the next red or developing the bad red. Did not expect him to miss the pot. Now a really important visit for Seb Webb. If he can get control of this visit, get himself that 2-frame lead with only 4 or 5 minutes left on the clock, it's going to be a huge favourite. That shot's not going to help him, nudging the red into the yellow, making that bad yellow for him.
He can't be getting ahead of himself here, Seb Webb, because that'll be the way that Keynes gets back into the contest. If Seb thinks he's over the line already.
Not his best shot. He needed to be high on the yellow so he could just drift down for the yellow into the yellow that's below the black into the middle pocket. Now he's going to have to work much harder with his positional side of this shot.
And he's forced it to such an extent that he's missed the pot. And the yellow ties up behind the red, so there's a bit of pool left in this one.
The problem that Seb had, it's not just the wrong side of the yellow, he's only just the wrong side of the yellow, so he's trying to force an angle that's not quite there to get the white to move around 3 cushions, and the shot really wasn't there for him.
Opportunity, is the double angle on? Yes it is, what a shot that is! Into the pack, and suddenly a contest that looked to be getting away from Keynes is back all square. What a visit to the table, and he celebrates for once, the young man. It's 3 apiece.
What a 3 balls he has just pulled out there. When he came to the table, it looked a very tall order to make that clearance, but 2 or 3 incredible shots to get the job done. And we are all square with only about 3 minutes left on the clock. This is where the referee, we were talking about it all afternoon, this is where the referee is under a bit more pressure to get that rack right and to get that rack right quickly. That white, that's very unlucky for Seb Webb. He hits the break really nicely. For that white to fly through the pack on the secondary route into the pack and go into the middle pocket, it's very unlucky. And it gives Kian Monaghan a golden opportunity to win this match.
How quickly things can change. The atmosphere very, very lively inside Milton Keynes Sports Bar, so apologies if you have picked up anything more colourful than you would anticipate. It is live TV, unfortunately, but we do apologise if any offence is caused. The crowd have been getting stuck in all day, and somehow this young man is keeping his cool.
This could just get awkward from it. It looks a little bit easier than it is. Because if he plays the yellow to the bottom left corner now and goes into the red, he could be leaving himself a touch thin on the yellow to the middle, and he may not be able to hold easily for the black.
Also,
yeah.
Simon, the way he's raced through this break could actually work in Seb's favour, because it gives him an opportunity to strike back. Whereas if he takes as much time as possible, there may not be that opportunity.
White to pull up. Does this go to the top right corner? I don't think it does.
I don't think it does.
He's got to watch the clock now. 7 seconds left.
No, he's left it over the pocket.
I think he wanted that to go more than thought it went.
Yeah, it was almost like he was hoping. Didn't really have time to absolutely check it out, did he? So 2 minutes, inside the last 2 minutes. A clearance from Seb would win it.
Yeah, the disappointing thing for Kian and the shot he played, the reason he probably still went for that shot was because he'd be covering that pocket if he missed it. I believe the red still goes past the black, although I don't think Seb's going to be able to get to it on this visit.
He's not played a great shot there. You have to hit a cushion, of course, so he couldn't just roll up. And I think he's left it.
Well, Kian's got this off the cushion. This is a fairly simple shot for Kian to win the match.
And it's there! And he celebrates! And he clenches the fist and points to the crowd! The 16-year-old is on his way through. Could be a late night for him. It looks like being another big scalp. And he's furious with himself. Nobody to blame but himself. He played a bad shot there.
Seb Webb's just not been happy the whole way through this match. Getting frustrated at every turn. He's now going to need a 58-second break and dish to take this to a shootout. And coming up dry all but guarantees the fact that he will lose this match, and it will be Kian Monaghan that moves in to the semi-finals.
Oh, the handshake. Not interested is Seb Webb. And the victory goes to Kian Monaghan, and the journey goes on in Milton Keynes. Craig Lakin's gone, Seb Webb's gone, and Monaghan marches on, the young gun, through to the semi-finals. And quarter-final number 3 is up next.
Shootout Pool, sponsored by